Okay, so I think now, yes, you are seeing my screen. So,
Yes.
good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure for me to come back again to our monthly webinar after this summer break. Today, we are going to talk about industrial symbiosis, but specifically to the topic of water. Today, I have with me three researchers from different countries. We have Amit Bhatnagar, if I not say wrong, Ángel Marcos, and also Paweł Kremiski. So they will be our three presenters today. That are the names of their presentation: Advancing Wastewater Treatment, highlight from current research. The second one is CircSyst project, and the third one is presentation with circular water enable water reuse through advanced treatment. As always, we are in a kind of webinar Zoom setting, so you are not allowed to speak during the presentation, but you have this question and answer box behind your menu in the Zoom box. So please, if you have any question to our researchers in any moment, you could put at the beginning of their presentation or maybe at the end in the question and answer section, but they will answer to all of you. As always, this webinar is recording, and the presentation of the three researchers of today will be also sent to you by email and also will be available in our website. So before giving the floor to them, I would like to do a kind of short introduction about each of them. I will start with Amit. He is full professor at the Lund University in Finland since August 2020. He obtained his PhD degree in chemistry in the Indian Institute of Technology in 2003. He worked as a postdoctoral researcher in several institutes and universities like the University of Porto, Hamburg University of Technology, or the Swiss Federal Institute of Environmental Science and Technologies. His research is mainly focused on water and wastewater remediation technologies. He worked with microbial. He has worked also in the synthesis of application of bio-nanomaterials for effective wastewater treatment. Apart from that, he has a lot of publication, more than 300 research review articles. He has several citations, and also he is editor of different journals like Environmental Pollution or as associated editor in Critical Review in Environmental Science and Technology. So he will be our first contributor today. Then we move for the second one. We have Ángel Marcos. He's technologist in the Project Management and Sustainability Department at IDIME, that is a technological institute or research center in Valencia, in Spain. And he combined consultancies and innovation processes while he's also university teaching. He has a bachelor degree in environmental sciences and also a master's degree in biodiversity conservation, management, and restoration. He worked in several projects like the one that he's going to present today. So he has extensive experience in technical and environmental consultancy, auditing, and management system and certification. And last but not least, we have Paweł Kremiski. He's an environmental engineer and senior researcher at NIVA in Norway. His research is mainly centered on sustainable water management and also circularity aspect, but he specifically has the focus on resource recovery, water treatment and reuse, and also water quality monitoring. He has also experience and interest in membrane technologies and his application for protecting the environment. And in general, he's also quite involved in different projects as related to industrial symbiosis and sustainable resources management. So that's our three speakers of today, and I'm going to start sharing to give the floor to Amit for his presentation about advanced wastewater treatment, highlights from current research. So, Amit, I'm going to stop sharing, and the floor is yours.
Okay. Thank you very much, Almudena, for the opportunity to present my research work in this webinar. And now I am going to share my presentation. Let's see once more time. I hope this will be fine this time. Can you see now my screen?
Yes.
And in the presentation mode, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. So, good morning, everyone. I am Amit Bhatnagar, and I am a professor at LUT University in Finland, as Almudena just nicely introduced me. My research group focuses on finding sustainable solutions for wastewater treatment and resource recovery. In my presentation today, I will be sharing highlights from our current research on advancing wastewater treatment. So I will skip this slide because Almudena already presented that I am from India. I completed my PhD from India. And then after that, I got the opportunity to work as a postdoctoral researcher in several countries such as Switzerland, South Korea, Finland, Germany, Portugal, Sweden, etc. And now currently I am also serving as head of the master's degree program in water technology at LUT University. Here you can see an overall research aim of my research group. We mainly focus on finding sustainable solutions for wastewater treatment and resource recovery. As I mentioned in the beginning, we deal with different kinds of wastewaters and different kinds of pollutants such as metal ions, dyes, pharmaceutical compounds, emerging contaminants such as PFAS, and nutrients, nitrogen and phosphorus compounds. We apply different technologies using different materials, for example, microalgae, biochar, and advanced functional materials. And we aim to contribute to United Nations Sustainable Goal number 6, that is clean water and sanitation. So in today's presentation, I am going to briefly discuss these research areas that we are working with. Here are some of the ongoing projects I am currently leading at LUT University. So in one of the projects, we are investigating the interactions between microalgae and synthetic polymers, for example, microplastics. This research is funded by Research Council of Finland. And why this is important? Because later you will hear that microalgae can be cultivated in different kinds of wastewaters. But at the same time, synthetic polymers such as microplastics are present in those wastewaters. So we want to study that how these two entities interact with each other when they are present in the same medium. And I will briefly show the results about this research. Then we have also started a new project last year where we are investigating the removal of PFAS, that is per and polyfluoroalkyl substances from water utilities using advanced functional materials. And then in the another project, we are focusing on the use of Nordic microalgal biorefinery for carbon capture and wastewater treatment. Then this summer, I received a positive news about the funding and that our project is funded from Horizon Europe. And the coordinator is Greece, and I am the work package leader of this project. And the plan is to develop a novel, compact, and advanced hybrid microalgae membrane photobioreactor for decentralized water and wastewater management systems. And we will demonstrate one system here in Finland, which will be operating under Nordic conditions using Nordic microalgal strains of microalgae and consortia. So now I will briefly present our research on microalgal biorefineries, which integrates wastewater treatment with CO2 biofixation using microalgae. So as I briefly mentioned that wastewater is a very good medium for microalgal cultivation. But why? Because wastewater contains many impurities such as nitrogen, phosphorus, and carbon compounds, besides other macro and micronutrients that are required for the growth of microalgae. So this is why we use different kinds of wastewater, and we try to find the nature-based solutions using microalgae to treat these wastewaters. For some of the audience, if you are not aware what microalgae are, so here is a brief introduction slide about microalgae. Microalgae are simple plant bodies, but not differentiated into roots, stem, and leaves. But their main function is like plants, they do photosynthesis. They contain chlorophyll A like plants, and microalgae are primary producers in the food chains. These are unicellular microorganisms, and these are highly diverse in form and function. And you can see some of the images of different strains of microalgae. So here an schematic diagram to explain that how microalgal technology works. As I just mentioned, that we work with different kinds of wastewater to grow microalgae, such as domestic wastewater, industrial wastewater, agricultural wastewater, because wastewater contains different kinds of inorganic nutrients and organic matter, which act as food for microalgae to grow. During the process, microalgae also capture light, no matter if it is sunlight or artificial light, and microalgae also capture carbon dioxide, which is an important environmental pollutant responsible for climate change. So after the process, we get treated water, and carbon dioxide is also captured by microalgae. But this is not the end of the story. Then what we do is that we collect this algal biomass that you see here in green, and we utilize this algal biomass for the production of many value added products such as fish and animal feed, microalgal biofertilizer, biofuels, bioplastics, etc. So these are some of the bioproducts that we are currently focusing on. Of course, the list is very huge. Then moving on, because we are in Finland, and in Finland we have noticed that the strains which were isolated in warm countries like Mediterranean countries, they do not show enough potential in the cold countries, because in Finland we have very long, dark, and cold winters. So we started to look the local strains. I was invited to visit one of the wastewater treatment plants here, and when I was visiting there, I noticed some green spots on floors and walls of the wastewater treatment plant. And I asked my students to collect those samples and see if these strains have any potential. So here you can see my students, they collected the samples from different locations, and now these strains have been shown very good results in removing the nutrients and in treating different kinds of wastewaters. So we first start the process by optimizing the parameters. As you can see here on the left hand side, we have small reactors where we optimize the process in terms of nutrients, in terms of CO2, in terms of other important parameters that are important for the growth of microalgae. And once we optimize the process, then we have the possibility to scale up the process. And on the right hand side, you can see an open raceway pond which has a capacity of 1000 liters. So from small scale to pilot scale, we can develop, or we can scale up the process easily in our lab. And here are some of the publications results which were published in different journals based on our microalgal research. And if you have any specific interest to know more about our microalgal research, please feel free to share your interest and send me an email. I will be more than happy to discuss with you further. So as I mentioned that now currently I am leading one research project where we are investigating the interactions between microalgae and synthetic polymers. This research is funded by Research Council of Finland. So here are some of the results. Unfortunately, the publication is delayed because of some challenges in the analysis of microplastics. But the results were presented at CTEC conference last 2 years, and our first manuscript is planned to be communicated next month. So as soon as the publication is out, I will share the link with Albunena, and she will communicate to all of you. Then the second project, as I mentioned, we just started this summer. The coordinator is Greece, and here in this project, I am leading one work package. This is a 4 years project, 48 months, and we have different beneficiaries, altogether 12, and 2 international partners, one from India and one from South Korea. So since the project has just started, I am unable to present anything in this meeting, maybe in the next meeting when there is a possibility. Then something about PFAS, which is a very hot topic, as you know. So we are developing different kinds of advanced functional materials, and we are also applying multi-scale computational modeling for the effective capture of PFAS from the water utilities. And here are some unpublished results which we received recently. So based on one of the materials that we synthesized, you can see that the percent removal was almost 100% using a very low concentration, 1 microgram per liter of individual PFAS. And the results seem very interesting, and now we are expanding our experimental part to study different parameters, and then hopefully by this winter we will be able to communicate our first set of results. Besides microalgae and advanced functional materials, we also focus on different kinds of bio-nanomaterials such as biochar, nanocellulose, and clay composites. And I will briefly present about the results of these materials. So biochar is a carbon-rich residue of heating biomass without oxygen, and we use different kinds of feedstocks such as animal waste, crop residues, forestry waste, food waste, etc. We pyrolyze these waste and the resulting product is black powder, which is called biochar. So basically, this biochar has a highly porous structure, as you can see here on the right hand side, some of the same images, and we are applying different kinds of treatments to come up with designer biochar or functionalized biochar in order to remove different kinds of impurities from the wastewater. We use biochar as such, or we can also prepare composites using biochar in order to remove different kinds of pharmaceutical compounds, dyes, and other pollutants. And we also apply the adsorption process, photocatalytic degradation, sonocatalytic degradation. So different processes are applied where we use or apply biochar. And I have also authored a book with some of my other collaborators on biochar, in case if you are interested to read more about biochar. Then we also focus on different kind of nanomaterials. But the problem with nanomaterials is that they can easily escape because they are so tiny. So our current wastewater treatment plants are not designed in a way to capture all the nanoparticles. So we come up with a magnetic approach. We have synthesized magnetic nanoparticles, as you can see here. So by applying the magnetic field, we can recover the nanoparticles. And another advantage is that we do not need to synthesize nanoparticles every time new. So by recovering these magnetic nanoparticles, we can reuse them multiple times, which makes the process economically feasible. So not environmentally friendly, but
Sorry, Amit, 1 more minute, please.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just going to finish soon.
Okay.
Yes. So here, some information about the magnetic nanocellulose that we prepared, and some of the papers that we have published using clay composites, where we also applied biochar and cellulose. So to summarize, here I have presented what we have been doing. We are investigating the interactions between microalgae and microplastic. As I mentioned, we have expertise on microalgae, we have expertise on biochar, we are developing advanced functional materials for the PFAS removal, and I would be very happy if there is any interest to collaborate. So that's all from my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Amit. Thank you so much for your interesting presentation. I think that for the moment there are no questions, so we will wait until the end and we will give the floor to Ángel. So Ángel,
Yeah, thank you,
you can
Amit.
start sharing.
Yeah, I'm going to share my screen. So can you see my presentation?
Yes.
Perfect then. Okay, so yeah, as Almudena pointed at first, I'm going to talk about CircSyst project. It's an European project we are managing with a lot of different partners. And my aim today is to discuss with you about the project in general, also what we are addressing regarding water management, and finally to also stop a little bit in the demonstrator we are managing here in Valencia. So this project is a project which consortium is formed by 32 partners in 10 different countries. We are researching regarding circular economy applied to water management, bio-waste management, and packaging management. We started in June 2024 and aim to finish by 2027 with a budget of more than 12 million euros. As you can see on the screen, the consortium is really wide, geographically wide distributed along Europe. And it's formed by very different kind of entities. We have technological institutes. We also have universities, research centers, public administrations, private corporations. So we form a really different consortium applying different points of view to the aim of the project. And also it's good to highlight that most of the demonstrators that we are developing are located in regions that are part of the Circular Cities and Regions Initiative, which also give us a floor to enhance the replication and the diffusion or dissemination of our work here. But which is the objective of the CircSyst project? Well, we aim to implement systemic solutions within the framework of the circular economy in 3 distinct areas. I have just said them: water reuse, plastic or packaging, and finally organic waste management. We aim to address economic and environmental issues and enable to the exchange of information and knowledge among partners, thus seeking to promote the implementation and replicability of the solutions, which is very important for us. We aim to look for the different synergies between the demonstrator. This is not only about the different pilots itself, but also about the relationship between these pilots. These yellow lines, not only reflect knowledge fluxes, but also actually material fluxes that can be used by different demonstrators. So we aim to be able to develop this demonstrator regarding circular economy in these 3 research fields, and also to provide the materials for the replication of these demonstrators in different regions of Europe. As I just said at the end of the first of my presentation, here in IDIME, we coordinate Work Package 2, which is the one that is focused on the demonstration of circular water strategies in urban and peri-urban contexts. And we focus on water because of different casualties. Firstly, as you know, water scarcity is increasing due to climate change. The latest IPCC report from 2021 noted a medium-high risk of water scarcity in most of Southern Europe. We have already suffered in Spain, but also in several regions further east and north by 2050. So we are talking about solutions that might be really, really useful in a medium or large period of time. Also, on the other hand, European policies, plans, and strategies recognize the importance of water and the impact of climate change on its availability. So the focus of Work Package 2 is to apply the circular economy to water management in different regions, sectors, and settings, addressing regional or local problems. In that sense, these systemic solutions will be implemented to recover wastewater, and we will help to build a methodological framework to assist others in evaluating circular water solutions in new locations, including elements such as technical feasibility, economics, water savings, other resources impacts, and stakeholders' perceptions. So this framework will form the basis of a set of guidelines for implementing these circular water management systems in the areas where they are to be replicated. So summarizing, we have 4 objectives in Work Package 2. Firstly, to demonstrate and characterize these 4 circular water system solutions in 4 regions and scenarios. Secondly, to integrate and optimize strategies for the circular water systemic solutions. Thirdly, to develop a symbiosis-based methodological framework for reusing wastewater in different scenarios and contexts. And finally, and most important, to define the specification materials for these 4 circular water systemic solutions and comparable solutions as a cornerstone of the specification materials for their transferability. This is not only about our pilots, but about its replication. We want to have a real impact in circular economy applied to water management in Europe. So the 4 demonstrators or the 4 solutions that we are developing in the framework of the project are those that you can see in your screen. Demonstrator 1, which I will develop now because it's the one that we are managing here in Valencia. We are reusing treated industrial wastewater through on-demand treatment and management. The second demonstrator in Podravie in Slovenia is focused on the use of reclaimed urban water in agricultural contexts. And then demonstrator 3, which is based in Flanders in Belgium, are applying small wastewater management as a structural solution to water scarcity and flood in urban contexts. And finally, our colleagues from Visby in Sweden are developing some integrated tools and methodologies for intelligent management of water symbiosis. This being said, now I'm going to get into more detail regarding our demo. We are focused on the reuse of treated industrial wastewater using an on-demand treatment and management system. So in summary, Demo 1 is designed to demonstrate circularity and symbiosis in the water sector in a complex scenario. It's going to be carried out in an industrial park where a wide range of water demands are in place, and both industrial and urban, and will be covered by a reclaimed water managed by AI. The main objective is to develop a symbiosis model by using reclaimed water to meet industrial and urban water demands like street cleaning, park irrigation, or firefighting. And you have some specific objectives to apply low-cost tertiary treatment, which I will explain now, including rainwater, to obtain different sources of reclaimed water. Also, to develop an AI-powered water mixer where water sources can be properly mixed to meet water quality demands in real time. And finally, to develop this small water system, which is powered by the artificial intelligence, enabled to be adapted to the demands in real time. We are working in an industrial area near the town of Ribarrocha del Turia, like 20 kilometers from Valencia. This wastewater treatment plant actually is collecting a lot of industrial water from the industrial park, which is next to it. Let me show you the picture. You can see here with the red circle, the wastewater treatment plant, which, as you can see, is next to this big industrial area, which is also really diverse in which the type of industrial activities that are carried out here. And this is the tertiary treatment that we are developing. You can see that we are receiving the wastewater treatment plant waters, rainwater, and also tap water. And we apply a tertiary treatment inline, including disinfection, microfiltration, activated carbon, nanofiltration, and reverse osmosis. The idea is that we are able to obtain different water qualities, as you can see down here, that can be adapted to the demands of the companies. So with the AI-powered system that now I will explain, we will be able to open or close these treatments in order to obtain one quality or another adapted to these needs. Here, with this diagram, I think it's more understandable. We have the industrial park in which we are going to sensorize the industry's demands, not only regarding the quantity of water that they need, which is very important, but also regarding the quality of the water that they need. On the other hand, we will also sensorize the wastewater treatment plant to understand the quality of the water that we are obtaining. And we will mix these both data fluxes, the data regarding the demands of water and the data regarding the offers of water, through Symbiosis, which is an industrial symbiosis platform that we have developed in IDIME, in order to automatize the tertiary treatment and to provide to the industrial park companies exactly the water that they need in real time. So if we need more water regarding the second quality, for example, the tertiary treatment automatically will provide most of that water in order to be adapted to the needs of the industrial park. Our aim, for example, our aim in conclusion is to be able to not only to reuse wastewater treatment and to be more efficient in water usage, but also to be more efficient regarding wastewater reuse in this industrial context. And finally, I would like to also acknowledge our partners in the demonstrator, which we are working very closely. Here in IDIME, we are in charge of the basic design of tertiary treatment, but also the commissioning, assembly, management, and monitoring of this demonstration plant, and also of the sensorization of these demands in the industries which we are working with. Aquatec, which is a Spanish company, will sensorize wastewater treatment. Aqua, which is the company that actually is in charge of the management of the wastewater treatment plant, will also manage and monitor the wastewater treatment plant during the process. And finally, the River City Council, which is in charge of the management of the clean water for non-industrial applications, and also has helped us to get in touch with the companies near the wastewater treatment plant. In that sense, also to acknowledge the stakeholders, which have been really open with us, the companies near the wastewater treatment plant in the industrial park, nearly 500 companies with a really wide, different kind of industrial activities. And also EPSAR, which is the public administration who actually owns the wastewater treatment plant, that have helped us with the administrative procedures to obtain the permits that are needed for installation of this kind of demonstrator. So, well, thank you very much for your attention. I've left here my email, so if you have any doubt beyond this webinar, of course, you can text me, and I will be happy to attend your doubts.
Thank you so much, Ángel. Thank you so much for your presentation. Let's move for our last speaker, Pavel, before going for the question and answer section that I don't see anyone for the moment in the chat, but I have several, so I will go later. So Pavel, you will start sharing your screen.
Yes, so let's see if that's gonna work a bit better than the last time when my computer crashed. I guess now should be all right.
Yeah.
Good. So I want to talk about circular water, of course, like all of us, and how basically advanced treatment enables water reuse. So my name is Pavel Krzemiński, and I work at Norwegian Institute for Water Research, where I'm a senior researcher. So maybe first, very quickly, what Norwegian Institute for Water Research, in short NIVA, is a Norway leading institute on water, dealing with all sort of themes related to aquatic environment research. We have 16 different research sections with over 300 experts across very different disciplines. And we do both fundamental and applied research on freshwater, coastal, and marine systems. What we specialize on is the water quality monitoring and pollution control, but also sustainable and circular water management. In those areas, we in particular focus on emerging pollutants, ecotoxicological aspects, sensor-based monitoring, and technological solutions. And the technological solutions are both for, let's say, water pollution control, but also for circularity, both of water and resources in the water. So we're working quite a lot on development and demonstration of innovative solutions for water treatment and resource recovery. And there we have a strong focus on advanced methods, typically membrane-based or ozonation, UV, and other type of technologies in that regard. And working a lot on circular water use. So if we've kind of categorize the activities we are doing into 3 challenges, we're working mostly with sustainable management of water, where we are addressing a challenge of scarcity and pollution. And there, as mentioned, we work on both traditional, but also a lot on emerging pollutants. And that aim there is typically water quality improvement. And this is also very closely linked to wastewater treatment, wastewater reclamation and reuse in approach from waste to resource. We also work a lot on sustainable management of resources in the water, and then with addressing the resource efficiency challenge. So that includes testing and validation of different methods for recovery and generation of products. We also work on investigating circularity potential and harvesting resources from waste stream, both in municipal sector, but also on the industrial sector. And we are also working, since we have quite a well-developed analytical lab with different analytical instruments and fairly low detection levels. We are working a lot on the assessment of the quality of the recovered materials from the different waste streams. And we're also working towards technology validation. And in that regard, here it says membrane application development because that's my field, but we're also working on other advanced treatment methods where we do testing and evaluation and technology assessment, either for emerging contaminants removal or for the product recovery. And we're also involved in pilot scale testing of different solutions. So if we think about the different water resources streams that they are and general circularity of water, we all know that basically the linear system, which we are trying to move on, we have to keep in mind that it was actually much simpler. It was take, use, discharge. So it was relatively simple. When we think about a circular water, this is obviously more complex. There's many other challenges that we didn't necessarily have to handle that much. Because if you think about, for example, recycling of the water in the industry, if you start to recycling the water without really knowing exactly what's in the water, you might create a problem as some compounds might accumulate if they are not really taken care of. So basically, there are several challenges which we address, but mainly that includes addressing the scarcity and pollution, then resource efficiency and technical feasibility. We also have a dedicated section dealing with social acceptance and regulatory aspects. And obviously in most of the technological aspects of the project, eventually you need to look into economic viability. Yes, so this is kind of an overview slide of where we apply advanced treatment as a solution for both cleaning and harvesting different resources, and that includes obviously water. So one of the main ones is where we apply membranes and advanced oxidation processes, for example, for water treatment and recovery. So we have had several projects working on the removal of emerging pollutants, and that includes chemicals like pharmaceuticals, but also natural toxins like cyanotoxins, antimicrobial resistance, endocrine disruptive compounds, PFAS type compounds. So there's really a lot. There was not enough space to put it in, so there are just a couple of the main ones. And we very often in those projects not only aim to remove it, but also to tailor the water quality to the needs of the different users, whether this is municipal or whether this is industrial customers. That's what obviously been mentioned by the previous speakers, but that's actually very important. We also work with microbial electrolysis cells, where we produce hydrogen from the reject water from the treatment systems. We also work on nitrogen harvesting. In that case, there was mainly membrane distillation and also nanofiltration. But also we are using ammonia stripping process for that purpose as well. Another type of activities where we see the need for advanced method is selective separation and extraction of valuable minerals from brines, seawater, end-of-life battery waste. So these are the ones that we at least have, these are the streams that we have at least worked with. And we are also developing novel membrane-based methods like electrolysis, capacitive deionization for further testing them for the minerals recovery and also energy generation. And obviously we are part of other networks and activities focusing on circular economy and industrial symbiosis, like the LIAISE cost action, but also water for reuse, and until recently also full rec for us, which was more on the recovery methods. So if we now go more deep into example of the project, so for example, the one on pollution and scarcity challenge, we've been part of the project looking specifically on contaminants of emerging concern and pathogens when you try to take the treated wastewater effluent from the wastewater treatment plant and use it for the irrigation purposes. So that was a SERPIC project that we were involved in. And the aim was to minimize the spread of different chemicals and AMR with the focus on additional water sources for food production. And the whole project aim was to develop an innovative treatment technology to fulfill that goal, to minimize the spread. And NIVA's role was to select suitable nanofiltration membranes and also support the design of the nanofiltration pilot system that was tested in Spain. So in that regard, a couple of main results from that project is basically the project, of course, was multiple partners. So eventually we have developed indicators for monitor or target indicators for monitoring when one is thinking about reusing reclaimed water in agricultural purposes. Another thing is that we have developed and tested a pilot scale system combining of different technologies that was nanofiltration, disinfection, and also a reactor for concentrate management, let's say. And there we have seen that on average removal of 90% of both organic and microbial species has been achieved, fulfilling the goals of the project. In the same project, we've been also specifically looking into how membranes are able to remove antibiotic resistance genes. And there we've seen that ultrafiltration removes overall 98% of the antibiotic resistance genes, and nanofiltration and RO, which is obviously a smaller molecular weight cutoff compared to UF, is removing 99.9, above 99.9% of the ARGs we have tested for, and all that, both those work has been published. So if anyone is interested, I encourage you to read the papers. And we also been demonstrating this technology in the pilot scale, where we've seen between 3 to 4 median log removal values of the ARGs. And that has been done both in that project and in another project where we have looked at the removal of emerging contaminants from both municipal wastewater and hospital effluents. Another type of work we are doing is, again, connected to pollution and scarcity challenge, but also a bit of a technology validation. We are working on improving water quality using membrane processes like ultrafiltration, nanofiltration, reverse osmosis in a fit-for-purpose approach. That was actually what was mentioned also by Ángel. So this is the same approach. We've done this particular project was done in a small scale, in the lab scale, where we tested several commercial membranes. And the purpose of that project was also to highlight reuse potential of the wastewater treatment plant from the Oslo plant, which, as you can imagine, water reuse is not very popular in Norway, but we are trying to advocate that we can at least use the water smarter in the Scandinavian countries. So very quickly, results from that project where we, for example, for the nanofiltration, we've been able to provide a water of quality that I'll explain in a moment what was used for or could be used for. But basically the removal was between 40 and 70% of COD, up to 99% of total phosphorus, and up to 30% of the total nitrogen, and roughly 2 log removal for the bacterial contamination. And obviously, as many of you probably know, the removal efficiency increases where you go from the more open membranes like ultrafiltration to more porous, dense like nanofiltration and reverse osmosis. So in that project, we've looked at the water quality classes that the membranes can provide according to the EU water reuse regulation. And we have basically identified that if you use ultrafiltration, nanofiltration, or RO, you basically fulfill the E. coli requirements for all classes. The same for the solids, and for the turbidity, you can actually fulfill the requirements of the class B, C, and D. If you want to go to class A, you have to provide additional treatment. And we also identified that nanofiltration and RO been able to fulfill the class B, C, and D in terms of the BOD. We also had another project where we look at recovering resources using membranes from the municipal wastewater treatment plants. And we basically been looking to recover water, energy, and nitrogen using different membrane type of systems. So another activity we are doing is a lot of mapping of the water flows in the industry, and that's more into addressing the challenge of resource efficiency. So then, for example, assignment is that we initially identify priority pollutants, because some of the industries are quite focused on sustainability and the zero emission vision of their industry. And then we propose suitable treatment alternative as a measure to reduce emission. But at the same time, we also identify opportunities for water reuse internally, which some of the companies are quite interested in. And if the companies are willing let's say, look into that, we also investigate the possibility of circularity potential for resource recovery, and then maybe reuse of purified water externally as well. So then it's much closer to industrial symbiosis, or it's than just internally. I think this is, I'm not sure how much time I have left. This is my last slide. So another kind of challenge that we are addressing is the technology validation and technology assessment. And we do a lot of activities where we screen different technologies, assess them together with other experts, for example, in cost actions, to understand how effective they are or how feasible their application is into certain topics. So if, for example, we've looked at the removal of emerging contaminants, again, using both conventional and advanced treatments, and we've looked what are the prospects if using different technologies and also drawbacks. So the key outcome from that work is that single, even advanced treatment is not sufficient to prevent the release of multiple CECs, and that's same for chemical and microbial contaminants, and that a combination of treatment and monitoring is necessary for safe water reuse, and that a multi-barrier approach is usually necessary in order to safeguard water use. We typically recommend some possible advanced treatment trains that could be applied for different scenarios and identify let's say, knowledge gaps. And in that case, there was a limited full-scale evidence on antibiotic resistant bacteria and antibiotic resistance genes removal. And also the treatment comparison is difficult due to lack of standard methods in assessing the different methods. And with that, I want to thank you for the attention. And if you want to reach out for any reason, either regarding the presentation or potential collaboration, don't hesitate to contact me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Powell, for your presentation as well. Quite good and interesting. There is already a comment in the question that say, well, first of all, they congratulate the three of you. And the question is, if we successfully implement widespread water reuse and reduce our extraction from natural sources, we might also be reducing the flow through that many ecosystems have adapted to over centuries, including the waste nutrient that they rely on. How do we balance closing our water loop with maintaining the ecological services that natural water flows provide?
Yes, interesting, very interesting question, Vesa. I mean, obviously they have probably for a much longer time been adjusted to not receiving that waste nutrients. So I think they will cope with that probably pretty well. And on the other hand, I mean, I don't think we can really just switch off those waste nutrients. So I don't think it really will be a problem over the time. There will be a slow, or if that change would happen everywhere, that would be probably a fairly slow change anyway.
Thank you. Thank you for the answer. I don't know if Ángel or Amit want to add something to this question, because I mean, maybe it's related to your topic as well.
Well, no, not really. I think the answer that Pavel gave was actually quite correct. I quite agree with him. I mean, these ecosystems have survived a lot of time without the human action over them. And it's true that sometimes when we discuss terrestrial ecosystems like forests, etc., the human action over them has actually really changed the ecosystems structure, and it can be actually a problem to stay away from them immediately. But with management and with time, for sure, I'm really sure that we could be able to manage it. Yeah.
Thank you. Amit, do you want to add something?
No, I think it has been already said, so nothing more to add. It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So I think that we have answered that question. And for the moment, there are no more. But as we have some more minutes, a couple of minutes more, I would like to ask a question, for example, for Ángel. You mentioned that during the deployment of those pilot or demonstrator, specifically the one that you did in your region, you have, for example, asked for this final confirmation of the government to deploy the plans and so on. I would like to know if, let's say, apart from this bureaucratic aspect, if you have do you have see another kind of challenges, technical or not technical one, for the before the implementation and during the implementation of the and deployment of the demo?
Sure, it's a great question actually. We have prepared some workshops with the stakeholders to understand the thoughts regarding this, because the barriers that we encounter, leaving aside the technological barriers, which are not quite so, because the technology exists and it's quite suitable, and leaving aside the economical barriers that are actually really hard to address, because it's true that in Spain, in our context, water is quite cheap. So reusing water increases the cost for companies and industries. That's true. But what we have actually really found as a barrier is the cultural address of how companies address water reusage from our culture. In short words, they don't want reused water in their companies because they don't really trust reused water. That's the most that we have found. But we always say that this kind of pilots or this kind of technologies probably now are not found useful for them, because they can actually keep using tap water without any kind of disruption or whatever. But in a not really far future from now, this is going to be probably its only option at some times of the year. So they will have to adapt to it. So yeah, we are also leaving aside the replication guides. We also have performing some formative actions and trying to make them understand that water is perfectly completely safe and it can be perfectly used in their industries. So it's a long way to go right now.
Thank you so much, Angel.
Sure.
Thank you for your for your answer. We have one question for Amit. Stell mentioned that she's not familiar with the treatment that you mentioned, and she has a question. What are the benefits and the downside of biochar and nanoparticulate for the wastewater treatment?
Yes, I am reading and I can answer it. So, great question. First of all, biochar is a carbon-based product, same like activated carbon, as you may know, but it is not activated. This is produced at low temperature compared to the activated carbon, and the benefits include that it is a sustainable material because it can be produced from different kinds of organic waste. And it is used to treat different kinds of pollutants, to remove different kinds of pollutants, including pharmaceuticals, nutrients, for example. There have been a lot of reports already that this material biochar has shown very good efficiency in removing the nutrients and pharmaceuticals and other kind of pollutants from the wastewater. In the downside is that in some cases it has shown low potential compared to the commercial activated carbon. So we have to be very careful that what kind of impurities we want to remove using biochar. In terms of nanomaterials, well, I think there have been many reports that nanomaterials have been found very good for effective wastewater treatment because they require in low quantity compared to the other materials for the same purpose. The downside is that their long-term impacts are not yet studied. So these can be toxic to the aquatic animals. Because as I mentioned during my presentation, these nanomaterials, they can simply escape to the natural environment because our current wastewater treatment plants are not able to capture them effectively. So this is basically, I hope I am able to answer your all the questions.
I think so, Amit. Thank you so much.
Yeah, but I will just add that in case if you have any specific questions, feel free to send me an email and I will be happy to answer.
Estelle answered through the chat, but she thank you so much that you answered the question. So
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so I think that we are out of time now, and I don't want to give more time for any of you. I would like to thank again to the three speakers because I think today we had a very interesting webinar and we have the opportunity to explore the water and the waste treatment of these interesting sources from a very different perspective, but in different enriching one as well. So I would like to thank you again, Amit, Ángel, and Paul, for your presentation, also for your kindness in answering the question, and also to all the audience to be here. As you know, we will continue working in other webinar. The next one is at mid-October. You have the calendar invitation, and also soon you will receive this YouTube link with the recording of this session and also the presentation by email. So once again, thank you to all of you to be here, and we will be in contact. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elena.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.